Okay, this is going to be a very Cleveland-centric update video, starting with an acknowledgement of the Hall of Fame induction and career of Joe Thomas. He was inducted as a first ballot Hall of Famer, as if there was any doubt that he would get in any other way. Some of his career achievements include being a six-time first-team All-Pro, two-time second-team All-Pro. He saw 10 Pro Bowl appearances, earned himself a spot in the NFL's 2010s All-Decade team, and is currently, and he'll forever be in the Browns Ring of Honor. Also holds the current NFL record for consecutive snaps played with 10,363. That streak only ending because of a triceps tendon tear, after which Joe Thomas basically said, I'm done with this and I'm retiring, which, I don't, nobody holds it against him because he did just about everything you could ask a franchise left tackle to do. It's just too bad that the quarterbacks he was given to protect were all pretty, varying levels of bad. We've all seen the jersey. Even the ones that had flashes of hidden potential here and there never really panned out. Essentially the equivalent of the perennial employee of the month, employee of the year, whatever, sharing desk space with the newly hired intern at the office is kind of what it was like watching Joe Thomas play left tackle for some of these quarterbacks. And really, again, I just wanted to kind of get that out there and acknowledge that, Joe Thomas has happened to a great Cleveland Browns player. He will always be known as the staple guy for the Browns offensive line for all those years, even though they were mostly bad and mired in constant change and drama as far as the quarterback position and coaching changes and general managers going out left and right and ownership deals or whatever. Joe Thomas was always the constant. He was going to be there. He was going to be one of, if not the best left tackle in the NFL, and that was something that you could rely on as a Browns fan. And as a Browns fan myself, there's very little that we can rely on in terms of our football team in that kind of way. So thank you, Joe Thomas, for the career that you had in Cleveland. I feel bad for you that there couldn't have been a better team put together with you on it, but again, I just want to send my appreciation and my condolences for what the Browns organization has done to Joe Thomas's career. But again, he had a great career. This isn't me like crapping on it or anything. I think that's great. So moving on to the NBA deadline. So there's this. The deadline's been going on, a bunch of crazy moves. Both Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant are moved from the Brooklyn Nets to out west. The Lakers acquiring piece after piece to try to, get together a run to the playoffs. And the Cavs roster has gone completely unimpacted by the deadline. They have the same roster now that they did on Wednesday and during the day on Thursday before the trade deadline ended. Nobody coming in, nobody going. There were some talks about maybe somebody like Karis LeVert and or Kevin Love getting dealt for maybe somebody who can add a little more scoring on the wings, but no dice. Kobe Altman saying that they view the moves that they could have made as lateral moves. Honestly, I don't think this is the worst thing that could happen to the Cavs in this season so far. I know a lot of people, they're very upset with both Karis LeVert and Kevin Love still being on this roster. I've seen Kevin Love in, talks for maybe getting a buyout, although there hasn't really been any official word on that yet, just a lot of speculation on, Kevin Love kind of makes sense for a buyout candidate, but as we've seen from the reporting so far, there doesn't seem to be any official plans to actually make Kevin Love, to buy out Kevin Love's contract anyways. That doesn't seem like it's going to be a thing moving forward. And honestly, I don't think this is the worst. Yes, Karis LeVert has been very hot and cold, and this season it's been a lot of cold, or at least it's been a lot more noticeable when he has been cold this season. But I feel like Karis LeVert's role in the Cavs rotation could be a little bit more limited, and then it becomes a deployment and rotation issue, which again, I think that falls a little more on Bickerstaff's responsibility than Karis LeVert's. But again, it is a little bit hard to ignore some of LeVert's struggles this season, some of his worst games. But when Karis LeVert is clicking with this team, I do think it kind of works as far as being a potential bench scorer. And even if Karis LeVert isn't on his game, I do feel like Bickerstaff should probably be a little more ready to rely on a guy like Cedi Osman, maybe a little bit more if it's clear that LeVert just isn't going that particular night. And again, if we're looking at a Cavs, first round playoff loss, or if the season goes off the rails and we're pointing the fingers at, well, Karis LeVert just had a terrible game, I think there are a little more questions to ask whether or not it was just Karis LeVert's fault or anything like that. And I feel like Kevin Love does mean, even though he's currently out of the rotation and he's had a pretty rough stretch of play when he has been in lately, I do feel like he does mean some stuff to this locker room, and as a veteran presence in this, in the Cleveland in a Cavs uniform, I don't want to discredit that. And maybe he is still kind of dealing with a bit of a nagging hand injury. He did suffer that hand injury, and that does, when he came back, he did seem to lose a lot of his, outside shooting stroke. So maybe he's still kind of dealing with it a little bit. It's not healed up 100%. And again, even if he is completely healthy and he's just not good anymore, I do feel like there is some value in championship experience, in stuff like this. So even if he's not playing, he is in the locker room providing some kind of, maybe a morale boost or something. But at the same time, you don't want Kevin Love, being sad around the Cleveland locker room because he can't make an impact on the court anymore. It is like a touchy situation. If the Cavs need to buy him out, then that's fine. But personally, for my personal benefit, I do want to see him finish his career in Cleveland. So that's pretty much it for the update. Again, very Cleveland-centric, because I do feel like a couple of significant things happened. Thank you all for watching. If you made it this far into the video, I'll see you at the next one.